What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Engineers That Filters podcast, episode 65. I'm your host, Jacob Thompson, and tonight I took a page out of Dayton's book, and I'm going with the Truly Lemonade Hard Seltzer. This is the black cherry variety tonight, and I agree with what Dayton said last week. It's not great, a little fake tasting, but I think the black cherry is a standout flavor in this set. So I'd recommend at least that one.
All right. I'm Joseph, and tonight I'm drinking Hui by Lupulin Brewing. And it's got a neat little can design, and it says "Crazy, Juicy, Hazy Hui," and that alone sold me. So
I really like that can design. I think it's very up my alley.
yeah, it's
It's almost
cool.
psychedelic.
Yeah, it's got like a lot of pretty colors and basic shapes kind of deal.
Nice.
Plus the picture of a little hop in the middle to add contrast.
Well, I'm Gabe, and my beer says champagne of beers. Because what happens is I buy the nice beer on Fridays, and then I drink it, and it's gone by Thursdays. So maybe I should adjust my schedule so I actually have some interesting ones.
You just gotta save one.
Yeah, but that takes self-control, Jacob.
Yeah,
And that
fair.
is hard to do sometimes when it's so good. You're like, oh, I want that, you know?
Yeah, who needs self-control, right?
Nobody.
And I'm Dayton, and I'm drinking Oberon. I finally managed to find some out here. It's got like a 3 or 4 week lag from, coming from Michigan probably. So finally out here on the East Coast. So I'm excited about that.
We need to get some more, Joseph. I wanted to get some more Oberon, but then I looked outside the other day and it was fucking snowing. And I'm like, this is not Oberon weather.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we
got,
need
like-
to drink Oberon to bring the summer weather.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
that's
how
it.
many inches did we get? Like 3? Like 3 or 4?
I think it was like at least 5. When I was
Yeah.
brushing off my car, it felt like at least 5.
What the fuck,
I think
Minnesota?
it was around 5 to 6. I think that was the official.
I think we're finally out of it now, and it's gonna be 60 like all next week. But holy shit, it was
Dude,
like
what made it
almost
worse-
70 degrees on Monday, and then
Yeah.
Tuesday it was fucking snowing.
No, it was
No,
Sunday,
it
Monday.
was Saturday. It was 70 degrees. Sunday it snowed. It fucking blizzard on Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
It was fucking because I had a Zoom call with my family, my extended family.
Oh
too.
yeah, you're right.
So there's like 20 people. That was a mess. But
Poopy.
yeah, one of my aunts was like sitting on her porch, like outside, and like, oh, it's such a beautiful day here, and I look outside and it's snowing. Like, it's coming your way. Just wait.
What made it shitty is it rained a little bit before. So like when you're brushing off your car, you get that nice crusty snow. So it's not just brushable; it like froze over. So you brush it off, and then you got to take out the scraper and get the ice.
It's
Yeah.
always the worst.
Yeah, it's the worst kind of snow.
Did it ever get to you, Dayton, on the East Coast?
So we're supposed to actually get like either frost or snow tonight, but I'm not sure if that's actually gonna happen.
Ooh, big deal, frost.
Yeah. this winter, if you can even call it a fucking winter, has been a joke. But
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
been
I think
across the
anything is
board.
gonna be a joke compared to Houghton, like to
Mhm.
UP.
Anything is, yeah. It was so fun while it lasted, and now every winter is gonna suck in comparison. In terms of
Yeah,
like,
there's
snowfall.
something I don't know. Like here, it's just like, oh fuck, it's just inconvenient. It snows, but in Houghton, it just you look outside and like, yep, it's the "This Is Fine" comic. It's just like, yeah, it snows a lot. This
You
this
get
is what
Stockholm
happens.
syndrome from like
It's-
scraping
you
out your
start to
car
like
for 2
it.
hours.
yeah,
You're more surprised when it's not snowing than when it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
And-
oh, the roads are clear today. Okay, cool.
I mean, I look back at it with rose-colored glasses because I know near the end of the winter, I was always like, God fucking damn it, I'm so sick of brushing off my car, and I pray to God it's not stuck today, you know?
Mhm.
But looking back on it, I wish we had that amount of snow in Minnesota because it was so fun just to
It
like fuck
was.
around.
Yeah, dude. When my family came up for graduation, there was a couple of them that just like weren't having it, and like I'm just driving around because it was in Calumet, is where like they had their stuff. I'm just like kind of like drifting around corners as you do. And they're just like going very, very slow and very cautious. And just like, oh yeah, this shit happens all the time. You just like whip it around the corner.
Yeah, I finally got my winter tires on my car today. That was an achievement.
You got them in April?
It got them off in April.
Oh, I heard got them on.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I heard got him on.
I got him
too,
off
I was
today.
like, what the fuck, Jacob? You just
Yeah,
went
for that
burn through
second
fucking
winter
4
that
sets of
hit
tires
last
a year.
weekend.
Right.
It took way longer and was much a bigger ordeal than I was hoping it was going to be today. But that's how auto care places are always.
That's how it is, man.
Well, welcome back to the show, everyone. As always, you can find our show every Monday on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. And you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EWF Podcast. You can follow us on Twitch, which we're live on right now, at EWF_podcast. We record on Thursday nights usually, so come and check us out if you want to see us record live. Tonight it's a fiver. It's a multiple of 5 episodes. We're back on the STEM topic train. On episode 60, that was when we did the bullshit bracket, which was kind of STEM related. We talked about sciencey stuff, rock, natural disasters, and organs. So we're back at it with some more STEM stuff tonight. Who am I gonna go to first? I'm gonna go to Joseph first.
I
did
am
study.
somewhat prepared. I found 2 articles on Reddit this morning, so
We've
Wait,
all
you mean that you
seen-
read the headlines and then you said that you researched it?
Yes, but actually 20 minutes ago I read both the articles. So
okay.
I've read more than just the headlines and the comment.
It's funny, we were talking earlier and I was like, what's the topic? He's like, I don't want you to steal it. I'm like, just tell me. And he like gives me the Reddit headline. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that. I'm like, did you read it? And you're like, no. It's interesting. It's like, okay. You do you. I'm glad you researched it.
So one is that a star orbiting the Milky Way's giant black hole in the center has been not receding, but the orbital path of it is shifting, similar to Mercury's, and this is proving or helping solidify Einstein's theory of relativity and how gravity works. Because what's happening is when it goes around closer to the black hole, because like time and space kind of gets fucky near it because it's supermassive with just a supermassive thing of gravity. But it shifts it just slightly as it's going around. It like warps space, I believe. So like very slowly, this star is shifting as it's orbiting the black hole. And so it's another thing to like prove that Einstein was right. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Some interstellar shit.
Yeah. I've got the article right here.
This is a dumb thing, but I guess I never really realized they're like consciously thought, oh yeah, there's a black hole in the middle of the galaxy.
Yeah,
Like-
it's pretty crazy to think about. And like how like unfathomably far away it is.
Yes.
But it's just a
Yeah.
pit of fucking nothing.
Yeah.
We've got
Just-
we've got bigger issues to deal with here on Earth
Well,
right
yes.
now. So I'm
Well-
not too worried about a black hole. I'm more worried about
Well-
the fucking stupid people.
You don't
trying
want to go to
kill us.
Matthew McConaughey's daughter's room and just jump in there?
What?
It's a reference to Interstellar. the
Interstellar.
movie.
Come
Yeah.
on. He goes in the black hole and
Oh,
there's-
Matthew McConaughey's in Interstellar?
He's
like
the main character.
I
He's
thought
the
I know
guy
you've
who's
seen
like,
the
this
movie, Dave.
maneuver's gonna cost us 51 years, and it
He's
becomes.
literally
guess-
the main character of the movie.
Yeah, but when I remember movies, I don't remember who the actors are. I remember the plot of the movies.
So that still doesn't hold up because that's what happens. That's a part of the plot. He goes in the black hole and goes to his
Yeah,
daughter's
but
room.
saying Matthew McConaughey doesn't mean anything to him.
Yeah, if
That's
you would have said, "Do you want to go to my well, actually, no, I'm not gonna say that because that
What were you
sounds
gonna
pretty bad. You can't bait me into that one, Jacob.
Back to
I
last.
mean, you're the one who edits the podcast, so you could always just put censors over it.
I'm not, no, I don't want to fucking do that.
Go back to last week, and I'm bitching about you guys not knowing actors and actresses' names. Annoying.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so
Dude,
funny.
nothing has changed in a week, Jacob.
That was so funny because I jumped on late, and you're like, Gabe, you know who this is, right? Like looking for that validation. I'm like, never heard of that person in my life.
God damn it. Anyway, just
So the word I was looking for was a precession, known as a Schwarzschild precession.
Like
Black
the result,
child?
huh?
That literally means black child in German.
Well, it's one word, so I think it's
yeah,
a person.
no, that's how German works.
Yeah. Okay.
Bl-
It could. I don't know. I'm not. I'm not arguing entomology here.
this is funny.
But it's
So-
caused by a massive object, or the result of warping of space-time caused by a massive object.
So like, if I had to guess, if the orbit's a good oval, right,
Mhm.
is like the skinnier side of the oval like getting skinnier, and the longer getting longer?
I
Because it's as
don't
it's
know.
Wouldn't
that would
it be
assume
falling
like,
towards it?
well, if the
So
black
it's
hole's in the middle, you know.
so if you imagine the black hole as this point, and this is really hard to explain
I was
because
gonna say you can't do this for our audio.
so it's not like, so instead of think of it like a clock face, where if you're looking at the black hole in the center, like the thing, and then the orbit of the planet is like an actual hand, it's rotating around it.
Yeah.
So like the left side is getting shorter and the right side is getting longer. So it's rotating around it rather than
Oh, okay. So it's not smushing the oval; it's like rotating the oval.
correct.
Okay.
And that's the same thing is happening with Mercury and its orbit around the sun, where it's not as severe because it's different sized bodies, but it's a slightly ovular. Ovular. I like that word better.
Isn't
It sounds more like ovaries.
Oh.
And so it's doing the same thing where it's shifting around. So I thought that was pretty neat.
So what does this have to do with my star sign, Joseph?
Nothing.
Well,
Wait, hey,
see if you're a
Joseph.
rising Taurus.
Joseph, can you explain to us what would happen if this star went through a wormhole?
It's like
Right.
a piece of
That
paper,
wasn't
right?
If you think about
Dig-
it, paper, you pull
It's
it, you
like
poke a
this.
hole
It's
in
like
it.
you gotta go through. You gotta go through, and then you open it up, and you end up in two different places at once.
Except you did that, or did
Dude, when they did that shit in Stranger Things, I swear they did it just for the meme value.
Goddamn.
All right.
What's your second one, Joseph?
So my second one is that a company has developed a what is it? A quantum processor that is able to operate 15 times hotter than current quantum processors. So current quantum, because they can make like basic quantum processing, those operate at approximately 0.1 Kelvin.
Fucking yikes.
So 15 times
Is
warmer is
1.5?
1.5 Kelvin for you math nerds out there.
We're warming
And
up,
that's
boys.
really damn cold. So
because Calvin doesn't go to zero ever, right? Like
That's absolute
Well, that's
zero, so.
absolute zero.
it's absolutely
Theoretically,
which
it
is
does.
impossible.
Yeah. Then like atoms themselves stop moving.
Wait. So what's it made out of?
This one is actually able to be made on with current silicon technology, and like actually able to be put with current like even the process of making the chips. They can
It can
do
work that cold. I didn't know that.
apparently.
I mean,
But so the one reason that this is, or one thing that I found funny about this is it takes the operating cost, the refrigeration alone operating cost, from millions of dollars to thousands of dollars.
Per
really?
minute, right?
Yeah,
like-
per minute.
That's
So
interesting
like,
it's on that scale.
Yeah.
well, it's 15 times. I mean,
It's
I mean,
probably
we're
like
talking
last week when we were talking about like the last 10% or whatever is like diminishing
Yeah.
returns. So like
Yeah.
I'm sure getting it to like even like a few Kelvin is probably not that hard, but getting it to like 0.1 Kelvin is probably really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like batteries, right? Like if you can make a battery 10% like more efficient, or even an engine, like a car engine, like that's huge. It's a big difference, especially if you're making those progress all the time. Every 5 years or whatever.
Do you know how big this thing is, Joseph?
I don't think it
on the topic.
said.
What'd the thumbnail look like?
It's two guys standing next to some contraption that's about the same size as them.
So it's not warehouse big.
So there's no
I
banana for scale.
No banana for scale, sadly.
I'm trying. I think from a they maybe back me up on this, but from a material science perspective, I guess it makes sense that silicon would work cold because it's a covalent network material, which is very stable. It's the same network, that's the same type of structure that diamond has. So getting colder and colder wouldn't make the atoms get too close together, I don't think, and then that wouldn't really cause an issue, as far as I can think of.
I don't know. We had the same semiconductors prof, and we both know he was not the greatest.
That class was a shit show.
But I mean, I guess I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. I mean, obviously it is working. Because I mean, when you think about your phone fucking shuts off when it gets too cold. But that's because of the battery.
Yeah.
That's because the diffusion of the lithium can't get across and give your phone charge. So.
If they have an external power source or whatever.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be an
Phones
issue.
also give off a stupid amount of heat too. If you can actually get it to run, it warms itself up. I doubt that's how. I don't know. I'm sure there's got to be obviously some heat to some degree that comes off from any form of computing, but it's probably not obvious enough to where they have to, they still have to do the refrigeration. But
But yeah, so I thought that was a pretty cool step in technology. The only downside is that these researchers are from Australia, and fuck Australia.
Why?
Dude, you know what? I know how they managed to get this thing to go 1.5 Kelvin instead of 0.1. It's because they're upside down, so the heat just dumps out of it.
The heat drains out, dude.
Yeah.
You figured it out.
Yep.
Yeah, they were doing it in England first. It didn't work for some reason. Then they went to Australia, and then
that or they're close to the end of the flat Earth. They just push off the heat.
Oh yeah, they just have it on its side. So it just kind of filters out.
So it's on a slope.
It's a good
that makes sense. That checks out.
Put it on a slip and slide to the edge of the
slip and slide the heat off.
This reminds me of what we had the episode 10 episodes ago with Max talking about how computers work, and it's just so interesting to me when you get on that scale and you're just dealing with the speed of light. He was talking about how that's a set speed, so the closer things are, the faster it'll be, and it's just so crazy to me they're working with such small lengths because the speed is set,
Yeah, well, it was like what we were saying before. If a processor is so many gigahertz, you actually have to account for how far light can travel in that amount of time because it may not be able to reach a physical distance.
Yeah.
Within that clock rate, which is just absurd that it goes that quickly.
It's really cool. There's some smart ass people working on this shit.
It always blows my mind because it's a couple smart people, and then they fucking, I don't know, then everyone uses their smartphones, but no one knows how it's operating.
Yeah, you don't know how your car works either, but you still drive it every day.
That's the scary part.
The same shit's happening with computers, where it used to be everyone who used a computer knew how to fix it, knew how it worked. When it was DOS and the shit.
That has not been the case, and it never will be.
Yep. It never has to be. People don't need to know. It used to be.
People don't need to know how to use computers. That's the scary part.
It's because the UI has gotten too good. I mean, same thing with cars. When cars first came out, you had to perform your own maintenance on them. You had to fabricate replacement parts.
Even just go from manual to automatic, right?
It just it's simpler, so you don't have to worry about it.
So
I blame Apple.
Then when shit breaks, you have no way of fixing it because you have two buttons. And it's well, fuck, this is broken. How do I do it? And you have no options or control. Dumb.
I blame Apple for people not knowing how to use computers. So their UI was too damn good.
Phones and computers. There's some Windows 10, for example, has Windows 10 settings, right? But that app is dog shit compared to the actual. They have the old Windows 7 ones in there, and those ones have a lot more. Yeah, they have a lot more control. Control panel has a lot more control. than like just the Windows setting app. But it's a lot simpler, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it doesn't work, you have to go into the Windows 7 apps.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes it easier.
Gabe, what did you bring to the table this week?
So I'm, browse Reddit and use that
Front
as an
wiper.
No,
It's
I
the
wanna...
front page of the internet.
I was working today, okay? You're
Yeah,
just being
well,
lazy.
So was I.
Technically, you knew what this episode was gonna
No,
be.
I totally checked Reddit at lunch. No, so mine's more of like a concept more than like a specific example. So I don't think we've talked about it, but there's this movie that I watched in high school that it didn't really do that well, it didn't get that popular, but it's called Gattaca. And basically,
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I
the
swear to
premise
God, I
is
thought you were about to say Idiocracy because you talk about it all
no.
the time, and I was like, I swear to God, if this guy talks about Idiocracy, I'm gonna be pissed.
No, the premise of this movie is like it's a sci-fi, so it's like in the future, but like people can be like genetically modified from birth to like basically it's designer babies is what it really is. Like before that term was coined. So like there's people who have good genetics and then people who have like the non-designed ones. So there's like a societal rift. So this guy who like he's a natural born, like tries to work with all these like genetic elites, so like everyone's like beautiful and super smart and super athletic. And it's just crazy to think that at some point like some of those features could totally be done within like 100 years. Like you could definitely, I mean, the initial part of it, like you'd think, okay, you want to get rid of like diseases or ailments, so you want to screen those, right? But like how far can you take it to be like, I want my kid to have blue eyes, like that?
Yeah,
that shit just like is so interesting.
those conversations have been happening a lot recently with like CRISPR and shit. And we've talked about that a little bit on this
Yeah,
podcast,
exactly.
but it's so fucking, the ethics are just so uncharted. Like there was a guy in China who just without telling anybody performed some CRISPR genetic altering on these twins, and this like a baby this woman was having, and in order to eliminate their possibility of having AIDS ever. But we don't know the side effects of that because like the DNA is so complicated. We don't know what everything does if it has other
Well, the
implications
thing
in
is,
the
it's
body.
not as simple as like Punnett squares that you're taught in high school. Where there's like a 4, a 2, or a 2x2 grid. It's like eye color probably has, for example, multiple genes or whatever. Like, who's the guy? Is his name Mendel? The guy who did peas. He just got lucky, and it happened to be one, distinct set of genetic code essentially, and not a multiple gene trait. But it's still like I mean, people are learning about that more and more every day, about like what genes do what.
That's like, I don't know. Even within 100 years, I don't know if we'll get there.
Oh, I think
like
we will.
I think we'd see within our lifetime.
We can clone animals like fucking nothing right now. Like we do that all the time.
But that's
like,
different.
Joseph, like the commercialization of it though.
Yeah,
like the ability maybe, but like the commercialization where you can go to a store and get your baby looking exactly how you want it to. Like,
America's pretty capitalistic. I wouldn't be that surprised if that becomes a thing.
I don't know that it'll be like mainstream, but I think it'll happen. Like celebrities or like uber rich people, I think that'll happen within our lifetime.
I'm not sure if it's gonna be like the rich people first, or if it's gonna be the governments using it first for like their own defense purposes.
Like,
see, I think that's where ethics would get more heavily involved, and
that's when you're gonna get the shadier countries out there doing this behind the curtains.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, you could take this even a step further, and like companies could like trademark parts of their human genome. Like, ooh, our super strength trait is specially designed and patented. Like that. That's a totally like people are trying to patent genes.
Well, they already do that with corn. I forget what brand.
But like they're trying to do it with people. It's just such a crazy moral question.
The biggest like to me the biggest like issue with the ethics of it is like the baby has no say in this. You know, like
Yeah.
there's another show, Gabe. I mean, that Geico's movie, but there's a show that came out when I was in high school called Almost Human. That was
I haven't
very
seen
good,
that one.
but it was set in like a future thing, and they had genetic, like babies and stuff where people were altering the babies, and like one of the main detectives was like a genetically altered baby, so she was like beautiful and smart and stuff, but like people were just like would like judge her. It's like, oh well, you know, you kind of cheated, so you're not like
You
as
didn't earn
good as
it.
everyone else. You didn't earn it, yeah. And she kind of resented the fact that she was one, you know, because like they don't have a fucking say. It's not up to them, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a huge side of things too. And there's also like even today there's the whole I think it's Huntington's disease debate where it's like if you have Huntington's disease, you will die probably around 30. Like it's just gonna happen. But you can also like find out if it's genetically passed on, and you can find out like if you're pregnant, you can do a test to see if your baby will have it. And then it's like, okay, if you find out your baby's going to, but it's like a percent chance that your baby may or may not. So it's like if you find your baby has it, is it within your rights to like have an abortion and then like have another baby and see if it has it? You know, like
Right.
is it unethical to let your baby live and when you know it's going to die like
Well,
that soon? And so
technically
it's just like
everyone dies, so
yes,
But
you know what I mean. Like it's gonna have a shorter life than everyone else. Like you know that for certain.
yeah, and probably a lower
That's what
quality of life too.
that's what I find so fascinating about like these type of like this question is it's like there's so many different like what ifs and there's just I don't know there's so many different factors and so many things that could change. I mean
Well,
you
you
see it
could.
with farming now like you were saying Joseph like certain like forms of seeds are patented and like if the seeds blow into a farm like across the road like they can get fined for
Is it Monsanto? It is
My
Monsanto.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
feel like I heard about that in high school, and I thought that was because they genetically engineer their crops to be infertile.
right so it
Yeah, so
dies
like
every
the
year.
pollen can't, excuse me, the pollen, you can't like cross pollinate it. But I think if the seeds,
Okay, but
but
like how the winds would
yeah,
have to be so strong to be planting on like
yeah,
one side of a road and then have that be
I
like
think it's more of
picked
an
up.
ethical question than like what I mean like should you be able to alter something and claim it
yeah.
yeah.
like
When
because it's
plants
life.
don't have feelings, so this has already been done.
Yeah, but I'm saying like okay,
But
yeah,
also that
yes,
hurts farmers
but you're going
because
from
Yeah,
because
this.
these plants are infertile, so they can't replant their fields. They have to buy new seeds. You can't because
of
usually
course.
what you
Yeah,
do, you grow corn, you take however percentage, and you get the seeds from that, and you replant your field with that
Yeah,
but they
instead of
engineer it
so.
so you have to go to them every single year and buy, which is like
yeah,
an
and buy it.
insanely
Mhm.
capitalistic,
Oh yeah.
motive.
And like you're doing this to probably poor farmers and like third world countries where they may not have as much disposable income for it too.
Yeah,
What I'm saying
But I
is
mean, they
like
don't have to buy those seeds though.
That's true.
no.
But if those are the ones that are easily
they have a
available.
Okay,
monopoly or
but
whatever.
take it as like okay, what if that seed is the only one like it's been engineered to live in that environment and natural seeds don't live, so you have to buy that. Like what if that gets translated into like human life too, where it's like you have to be modified or you'll be resented by everyone. Like it's the opposite of that show that
Yeah,
you were talking about, where it's like if you aren't engineered, like people judge you or look down on you.
I feel like that's just another way that people will judge you. I mean, I would argue that people still judge you based on your money. Like that's just I feel like that it's going to come down to another socioeconomic problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
wonder like, and this would be like way in the future. It's like you can't get a job because that's like one of the criteria, or not, like that's something they are like ranking you on. It's like, well, these people have the same resume, but this one was genetically altered to be better,
Yeah.
so we're gonna go with them.
And that's the way
You know?
Gattaca was. He had to like pretend to like he was using this other guy's like DNA like every time to like scan in because like they use scanners to walk in to like keep impersonated someone because the only job he could get was like be a janitor or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's yeah. I'm thankful that that reality is very far away, but I wonder if we'll have to deal with that in some society.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could honestly
Guys.
see it like flip-flopping. So like right now, obviously there's a very few amount of people that are genetically modified and like if they are it's like it's off the books like they're not on record about it. So then I think that it's like especially like when it first comes out for like public use, it's gonna like spike. Like people are gonna be like doing it nonstop, right?
Like BioShock.
I haven't played those games, so
Okay.
I'm a bad gamer. I'm sorry, Gabe.
Yeah, you're
Not a real gamer.
I'm not a real gamer, no.
Three lies.
But then like I can see like once everyone gets it, then it's gonna be like a luxury to not do it.
Or like a hipster thing, even.
Yeah, so like sort of like with how we've seen it with food, right? Like in the Middle Ages and stuff like that, like food was hard to come by, like you had to like work for your food, and only the rich people were fat. And now
Yeah.
everyone can be fat. And now like I don't know, like I feel like that's kind of like a there's some correlation between the two.
Yeah.
Well, even like you have religious um and societal like views too. Like in the show Altered Carbon on Netflix, there's like these people can basically like live, it's sci-fi as well. People can like download their consciousness in these like computer chips in their neck. So like your body is pretty much meaningless. So you could like die, just upload your consciousness into another body as long as you have the money to pay for it. Um, so like there's a group of people who like resent the idea of having that happen because like, you know, they were like Catholics or something. I think they were like Catholics where they didn't believe in like you have one life, right? And that we've taken that from them. So I could totally see that happening as well. Like some religious or even like cultural thing where it's like they don't agree with altering or anything.
Yeah. There's also the Superman side of things, like on Krypton, the deal is like everyone there's people like don't have sex, like babies aren't born, they're just like created with like they have like this genetic codex where they make people, and every person is like born as a certain role. Like you're born, hey, you're gonna be a, I don't know, engineer, you're gonna be a carpenter, you're gonna be a farmer or whatever. Like everyone's born with their like job, you know, and they genetically make them like good for that or whatever. And that's like their society. That's another. I don't think we'd ever get to that point. Hopefully not, but that's pretty interesting too.
That'd be pretty fucked up.
Yeah, not a lot of free will there.
You're a McDonald's worker.
Well, I feel like
you have spatulas for hands.
I feel like by that point everything's automated.
I know. I just wanted to make the spatula for hands joke.
You can just see like their forearms are like incredibly ripped for like
Yeah.
rotating their hands back and forth.
Right. I can really fucking get into that.
All right, I brought a couple things tonight. Nothing too major. One of them is the lymphatic system. Okay, because I finally learned about anatomy this week, and I just want to talk about it because like it's one of those things you always hear about in school, but you never really know what it is. Okay, at least that was my experience. It's like you're learning about like the
I was just gonna say lymph nodes. It's all I know about
besides
it.
like lymph nodes, but it's like
puberty is all I know.
you know you have like your arteries and your veins, like the circulatory system, right? And then like, oh, there's like the lymph also. Or like, what the fuck's that? Like, we're moving on. It's like, wait, go back. what is that? Is it part? Does blood go in there? Like, what are they? And even like in my nutrition class, like at tech, it's like, yeah, you know, when you eat food, like it's absorbed in your small intestine, it goes into the lymph, and then it goes into your liver. I'm like, wait, but what's the
Wait.
lymph? Like, we're moving on. It's
Well,
like,
I thought
no,
your lymph
go
was
back.
up here.
Yeah, that's right.
There-
Those are your
Well-
lymph nodes.
Let me break it down for you, because I finally learned where the fuck the lymph is.
All right,
The
let's hear
lymphatic
it.
system is. So basically, it's a series of very, very small tubes. So like think of like arteries and veins, like smaller than that. They're not connect. It's not connected to the heart, and it's not a circuit. It's just a one-way system. It's like it's open-ended, I guess you could say. So like there's these lymph vessels like all around your body, right? And there's lymph nodes scattered throughout. Like there's like the ones in your neck, and like your thyroid is like one of the main organs of the lymph system. But you have lymph nodes everywhere. Basically, it's what it does is it's part immune and part circulatory, where it like collects the extra fluid in all of your like tissues, and it like recycles it, and also like proteins that need to be like recycled or like reused, it grabs those as well, and they move like up your body, and they get back to the near the heart where they get kind of recycled. Like it basically puts fluid back into your body. It's like recycling shit.
Hmm.
But
Like
since it's
crazy that
not,
human bodies have recycle like recycle plants.
yeah,
It's
and then
just
it's part
there's
of the
just
immune
wild
system.
shit in your body. Like it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like
And then what the lymph nodes are for is like the immune system side of things. So it also, when it's like taking up the fluid, it takes up the disease pathogens, and it goes into the lymph nodes, and that's where it gets attacked by your immune cells.
It's nuked.
Yeah. And the lymphatic system is also what creates your immune cells, like the T cells and the B cells. You've probably heard of those. But the T
Didn't know
cells
that.
attract directly. The B cells make antibodies, which marks stuff for to be killed by macrophages. Anyway, the thing I wanted to talk about that I needed some validation for. Okay, so because the lymphatic system is not connected to the heart, there's no like pressure. There's no like lymph pressure, like pushing the fluid like through your body. So basically it moves up, and then there's a bunch of like valves that prevent backflow. So they'll like move through and then like hold it, and then move up and then hold it, right? So it's always moving
It's
up
like a
your body.
ladder, but like
backflow
Exactly.
preventer.
Exactly. And your veins have that too.
Like in a garden hose.
It's
Makes
in your
sense.
veins also because your veins have less blood pressure than your arteries because they're going back towards the heart, but it's even more valves in your veins. And so it moves up through like basically just you moving, like skeletal movement, and like there's some smooth muscle in there that are moving it, But I needed validation because one of the ways you move it up from your legs is bouncing your leg, and I bounce my leg a lot as a nervous tick. And I'm like, I finally have a fucking reason I can say that besides a nervous tick of why I'm doing it. It's like, oh yeah,
my
my lymph, or it's like my lymph in my body. So fuck you for giving me shit for bouncing my leg.
Fucking kiss my ass with that
You
shit.
bounce
You
on
take
the
the
table.
entire couch when we sit down and watch TV.
I
Holy
feel like I don't do it on the
shit.
couch that much, do I?
Yes.
I don't even notice I do it
That was
anymore.
So much desperation. So funny.
God.
Yeah. But now I know what the lymphatic system is. It's a very, very small, like similar to blood flow system.
So then
Interesting.
when your lymph nodes get swollen, is that
Yeah.
because like the fluids that get drained into it are like they're not
It gets, like,
being
clogged.
attacked effectively? Like there's like a backup.
There's like a clog, or like they get infected.
Maybe there's just a backlog of things they need to attack.
They have a queue.
Procrastination just hits hard.
Yeah.
There's also like edema, which is like when it gets swollen, and that's also due like a blockage.
Okay.
So yeah, your lymph nodes it has to do with infections. And what's funny is like your tonsils are part of your lymphatic system, and so like basically what they catch like pathogens as they're going into your body. You actually have like multiple sets of tonsils, like the main ones that get taken out sometimes, and there's like 3 other sets that are like around your throat going in. But the reasons like people have to get them taken out is because they get infected because they're catching too many pathogens, and then they're like, "Fuck, we got infected," because they were like
Too
they
good of a
got
job.
too much.
It's suffering from success.
Exactly.
Doing your job a little bit too well right now.
Yeah. You need to do what's called chill.
And then they get fired and
Yeah.
get removed from your body.
Probably
but that's how you build up like immunities and stuff.
Dude, I feel like it's always the kids who are like eating fucking sand by the shovelfuls to get their tonsils taken out.
Dude, I remember I used to get a lot of sore throats as a kid, and like my doctor's like, 1 or 2 more times you're gonna get them ripped out, and I never got one again. Like I got lucky. But my stepbrother, he had to get his ripped out, and I had to go to a couple of his.
They reach in with a pair of pliers and just pull those suckers out.
I remember going to like an appointment with him, like because he got him out, right, and then he had the ice cream week or whatever, and they do the checkup, and there's a bunch of scar tissue that gets built up, so they literally ripped his scar off, like. And I just remember, like, I really hope this never happens to me.
Gabe's like, no more doorknob licking for me.
I need to cool it on the paint chip.
Yeah, so I never ate paint chips again. I just remember that, like, memory burn in my mind of like, no, I never want this to happen to me.
But people can survive without tonsils, though, right? Like,
oh yeah, because like I said, you have other tonsils that can do this. They do the same job. Those like the ones that get taken out are just like your biggest ones.
Okay.
So you might be more susceptible to getting sick, I guess, without them. But
Airborne pathogens.
your tonsils are cool though, because they catch a bunch of shit, and then your body makes antibodies for the stuff it catches.
So
That
so
way
it
you're
is
protected.
a good idea to lick doorknobs in small amounts then.
When you're young, yes, because when you're younger, your lymphatic system and immune system is more active. But as you get
Okay.
older, it declines.
Not during a pandemic.
Not during a
I
pandemic.
would not recommend that, Dayton.
Mm.
My
Well, I
friend
need
on
to
the
change
internet
my
told
life.
me. Dayton
Need
just
to
goes in
cut
the
that out
office.
right now, then I guess.
Yeah, so my friend told me I should be licking doorknobs so I can get some antibodies.
That's like the thing you see where it's like, the mom is like carrying the baby and the baby drops like what's the thing they suck on called?
The binky?
Pacifier.
That's fire.
Pacifier on the ground, and the mom just like picks up, puts it back in the mouth because like
Yeah.
gives them antibodies, and like their immune system is so active at that point, like they're probably.
I don't
Stomps
think
it on the
that's what's
ground,
going through their
stomps it on
head.
the ground, and then gives it back to the kid.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
think it's
rubs
like,
dirt in
nah.
it.
Like spits on it.
Shit, kid, eat my shit. And then she
Smokes.
burns down the 5G tower because it's giving COVID to everybody.
Yep. Yep.
It's like
Because
smokes a cigarette.
that's how
while smoking
that's
the
how
kid's
that shit works, right?
Yeah.
The
Dude, was there
electromagnetic
COVID before
waves can-
5G, Dayton?
What?
No.
Are
You
there
gotta
actually those
burn it.
conspiracy theorists who are saying that shit, Gabe?
Oh no, people
Yeah.
are literally burning down 5G towers.
Oh,
What
it's
the
huge in Britain.
fuck?
Yeah,
In
because
Britain,
they
it was
caused-
like huge protest.
That's dumber than not buying Corona beer.
Yeah, no, it's super dumb, but
I mean,
it's the
people-
thing.
People
Yeah,
are
no,
just scared of what they
Causation does
don't.
not mean correlation. You need to pound that into their goddamn skulls.
Yeah, they
But people are like,
obviously don't
understand
understand
how they work.
Coronavirus has been in like countries without 5G, and they're just like,
Dude, no, it got spread there by the 5G fuckers, alright? They just like took it.
It got sent to the airwaves.
Yeah.
Even though 5G has a shorter range because, again, the speed of light comes into play, and the faster the speed, the shorter the distance, but they're too fucking stupid to understand.
Is that the speed of light though? I feel like that's because it has a
It's a shorter
It's
range.
higher frequency.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. Is
It's-
my internet
I'm-
going out or is that?
I don't know. Somebody,
Yeah.
I'm getting some real bad shit.
Yeah,
right now.
Gabe's frozen.
I think it's Discord. I think it's
You
Discord.
guys are glitchy.
The
I
5G.
look great on my end. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
gonna
we're good
write this
now.
down and cut this out, Dayton. It's around
Yeah.
42 minutes for me.
Good
I
thing
thought it
there's
just
no
had to
one
do
on
with
the Twitch right
interference
now.
though.
Dude, Dayton, you're really grainy from me right now.
Yeah,
Get
you
us
are
back
for
to
me.
normal.
Jacob, you're a little grainy, but you're popping in soon. Joseph looks fine for some reason,
Yeah.
which is weird because he's across the hall from you.
I know. Me and Joe should be about the same.
We're on the same internet.
Yeah. I don't know.
Dayton, try talking again.
Yo.
Alright, you sound fine.
Yeah,
Oh.
your audio's
You just
Fucking-
got real bad, Jacob.
Mhm.
Yeah, you guys just got real bad.
It's
Jacob,
the
I think-
fucking. It's the 5G network.
I know.
Oh,
I said
they were
that
just
again.
talking.
down.
And it died.
I
Do you
heard
want to try
us
to leave
talking about it.
leave the call and come back quick?
No. No.
It'll fuck up the video like a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna edit it out.
No. I would
But
really
the
prefer
audio.
if you didn't.
All right.
Turn off the video, like end the call and turn it back on. Do that.
Wait,
I
what?
I mean,
Like just
it's
turn off
fine.
your
It's fine now. It's fine. now.
All right. All right. We're moving on. My second topic I brought. So this is a shower thought that came to me while playing Borderlands 3. Okay.
Wasn't really a shower thought then.
Well, it's a shower thought type thought. Okay. So I was playing with Dayton, right? And we're cruising and bruising, and I'm
Mhm.
playing as the character that's a robot, And he had a voice line at one point. He says like, "Oh, this smells," and I'm like, "Wait a second, robots can't smell." I mean, maybe in this futuristic game where they've had more technology than us, they can. But I was thinking like, obviously we have like cameras and shit. We've been able to replicate like this the vision sense, like with technology. But we haven't been
Mhm.
able to replicate taste or smell like electronically. Or if we can, it's like not really,
I wonder if it's just
I
there's
don't
just no use for it. Like,
That's the
Yeah.
other thing too. Is like even if we're able to recreate it, would there be a use for it?
I could
Like-
see smell being useful for
But,
like
it's so intricate.
detecting.
Because we just learned about the special senses in anatomy too. A lot of my stuff is anatomy, but like the reason you're able to identify smells is because you have like this database of like memory, right? Of like all the smells you've encountered,
Mhm.
like what each means, and like maybe you can smell like something you smelled before, but you can tell like, oh, but it's a little bit different this time, and it's more like spicy. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
you can tell slight differences in things you made before, but like adjust them based on other memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even if we were like exactly electronically replicate how smell is sensed by the human body, which is already kind of complicated, we would need like such an intense database to be able to like organize that and present the data. But also like when you look through a camera, you're like looking at a picture, right? Like the sensor is detecting vision and we're using vision to read the results. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If you had a smell sensor, would it need to produce the smell and you smell it? That's how you sense it. You know what I mean? Or you have to like read on screen. Oh, this is baked bread.
Well, a smell is just airborne molecules, right?
Yeah.
So it would just be a database of what.
It'd be chemical.
Yeah, it would just
See,
be a chemical.
Jacob, haven't we talked about this before?
Me and you talked about it briefly when we were playing Borderlands, so I was getting it.
Yeah, I didn't know if we talked about it in Borderlands or not.
But you
But
talked about it on the podcast yet.
I
Well,
remember
we are.
bringing up FTIR, which is Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy.
Yeah.
Or spectrometry? I don't know.
Spectroscopy.
Something.
Is it?
Yeah.
But anyway, so it just shoots a laser at an object and then it records what wavelengths of light it absorbs. So basically,
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
the
like
vibration.
one minus the frequency or whatever the frequency wavelength, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And then that gets translated into what, like a vibration energy or something like that, and then you
Yep.
can use that to correlate it to specific bonds, and then based on those bonds you can determine which molecule it is, Joseph. But
Mhm.
doing that is like incredibly hard,
Yeah.
and even like two samples that are exactly the same could like have like varying
But you're
like
just not there yet.
yeah
I mean,
it's
we
just
can
fucking
the
hard.
test is easy to do, but interpreting the data.
Yeah.
See, the thing that I like immediately think of that would be a problem would be like smells that are associated with our brains with our personal experience. Like a computer isn't gonna know, oh, that smells like Joseph's
Grandma's
apartment
house.
or
Yeah.
grandma's house or whatever. Like those are
Yeah.
very much linked in a unique way per individual that a computer obviously isn't gonna know.
Yeah, but my apartment or my grandma's house or whatever still, like, it smells that way because of X chemicals. So like I think because we can detect like airborne, like, things in the air, right? Like you can detect like if there's argon in the air or like
Mhm.
certain, so like I feel like it's not far off from that. I feel like it would be, rather than like this smells like this, it's like a robot would have like X amount of things that it could detect.
What
So
I'm
like
thinking of
there's carbon monoxide in the air. There's, this that
Natural
I
gas.
smell
Yeah.
smoke, I smell gas, I
Yeah.
smell
right.
cooking, I
I
smell
guess what I was
oil, things like that. That could be good or bad.
yeah. I was saying like if let's say some apartment like apartment complex uses the same materials or whatever, and that's what's causing the odor. Like
Mhm.
I go to your apartment and like, oh, this smells like Joseph's apartment, and like someone else goes to the other apartment and like with another friend, and it smells the same, and then you get the same smell. You're gonna be like, oh, this reminds me of this location. Or
But
like
I
this
guess in
memory.
that sense, it's still the chemical that's eliciting those memories. So if
Yeah,
it's
but I'm
like what
saying
Jacob
like
was talking about, where it's like a sensor, and then it's like a Febreze puff, right, where it puffs out the smell that
right.
it senses, then it's still going to elicit your own specific memory when you smell that scent. It doesn't
What
need
I'm
to say,
saying is a photo is like anyone can look at a photo, and I guess there are memories attached, but you see a photo and like this is what I'm looking at.
But
But like
that's
so
not
you get a
entirely
smell,
true. There's a
you
whole
get two
a branch of psychology tests that'll say, what do you see in this image? You know? So that's, and it's,
I would say,
but
yeah, photos and smells are equally neutral. Like, because you can say in a smell, this has this chemicals, and you can say in a photo, this has these pixels in it. It's,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It has like a pixel here, a
Yeah,
pixel here.
I
Like,
understand
that's
what
like
you're
the
saying.
data. and the data of a smell is the chemicals, but what it actually is, like, oh, that's Joseph or that's jalapenos, like those are two very different things.
Right. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I haven't thought of it that way.
but I don't like that we're using me as this example. I'm just gonna throw that out
You
there.
smell like
Well, but
jalapenos.
granted, we do have facial recognition now. Like computers have been able to determine, like Google Photos can do it, right? It's like, okay, Joseph's in all these pictures, but like with smells, we can't do that. But again, there's not really like a need for it.
Yeah, I think I think if we were more smell based, then
Smell-based creatures.
yeah, then like that probably would have been developed earlier.
I feel like it'd be pretty.
But like still,
useless.
like the odor I give off, I hate this conversation. It's still like it's consistent, right? Like, I
More or less.
use the same shampoo, but
Yeah.
So like the Joseph smell, the Joseph apartment smell is still compromised or composed, excuse me, of like 10% this, X% this, Y% that.
50% seed, 50% weed.
Yeah.
SpongeBob joke for you guys.
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna go the 100% reason to remember the name. That
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. 110% power of will. I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever
that one.
Yeah. Either way, like it's quote unquote like consistent enough. Like if it's enough to be like this is the Joseph smell, this is the grandma's house smell, this is jalapenos, this is insert
Joseph eating jalapenos.
Gabe's farts, which we all know are
Oh,
very
I
distinct.
have a
Rancid.
brand. A computer could definitely tell. Like, oh shit.
Like it's like it elicits a memory, but that's because it's the same smell. So like
Mhm.
yeah, you would need that database, but
But also, just what I was getting at before is like, even if the smell is slightly different, it's still the same to you, but to a computer, it might not be.
well, you can have ranges.
Yeah.
Like
You can
degrees
have
of
tolerances. Yeah,
tolerance is
tolerances.
a better way.
That's totally reasonable. Like I work with machine vision every day, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or like at work, and like, yeah, there's tolerances where it's like, yeah, this is not the same image every damn time,
Mhm.
but it's looking for these features. It's looking for these distinctions, which is probably all it would need to be. That's all you smell. You smell the distinctions. If you think about it, it's not like most people don't smell every nuance and that comes out of Gabe's asshole,
If that happened to me, I think I'd just off myself.
The other thing I was thinking about is I actually did read this thought on Reddit, so I'm kind of stealing it today. Actually, how like a lot of things scent related. It's not so true for sight. Is like after you smell it for a while, it's like all right, it smells like this, and then it goes away. Like you go nose blind to it because it's not an important factor for you to stay alive, like an evolutionary sense, right? Like after you smell it, like if you smell smoke, you're gonna react. But if you smell my farts, you're gonna be like, all right, now I'm used to it because it's not a danger, and now I'm gonna focus on other things like talking.
Well, it is
I think
a danger.
it might be
I'll
a
tell you
danger.
what.
I set you guys up for that one. I really did.
It's a
But like
fucking
that's
danger
exactly
to
why
my mental
smokers
health.
get used to it.
Right.
Mhm.
They don't.
You don't smell your car is disgusting.
When you smoke, a pack of cigarettes a day, smell of tobacco doesn't affect you at all. It's
Well, I'm
an
sure
everyday
people who work on farms get used to all those smells or whatever.
smell of pig shit and cow shit and
Right,
every other
just-
kind of shit there
The
is.
smell of money.
But
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Though, like, I don't think that would be that useful because of that. Like, even if you were to make a contraption that could recreate
But that's just our
sense.
dumb monkey brains.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, what's the use after like 2 minutes? You're like, all right, I smell some toast on this candle. All
It's
right.
for the robots, Gabe. When the robots rise up, they need to be able to smell
Oh, okay.
and elicit memories from those smells.
They need to know when the corpses of the humans of the time that they've slaughtered, when it's time to clear them out,
They just do facial
they're
recognition
rotted.
to see how many they kill. I don't know.
Dayton, what do you got for us for the last topic tonight?
Well, all right. So I'm gonna preface this by saying that climate change is obviously a
False.
falsehood.
Wait a second.
No, so I'm going to talk about glaciers. So,
Ooh, and how they're all melting.
It's gonna be sad. It's gonna be sad.
no. So the only reason that I brought up glaciers as the topic is because, like, when I first moved out here to Connecticut, I like realized immediately that like the geology of the area was like a lot different than Michigan. Like obviously it's on the shore and whatnot, but I think they are they on the same tectonic plate? I actually don't know that question. But
Probably.
basically all of like this area was formed by glaciers, and like the sediment that's here was all ground up by glaciers. All the rocks were deposited by glaciers, with exception of like the bedrock and stuff like that, because that was formed from volcanic activity. But like to me, just like the scale of it all is like insane, because I'm pretty sure it was the same glacier or ice sheet that stretched from here, like in Connecticut, like up to the Midwest, and that was like the entire like thing. And then it went out, and then it receded back, went out, receded back, and kind of just like ground things to fucking sediment.
Well, isn't that how the Great Lakes were made? Right?
Yeah,
That's how Superior was made.
I thought all of them.
I thought
No,
all of them were, but
I remember hearing that the other Great Lakes were just from the pressure. Partly, well, part of it, but part of it was from the pressure. And actually, the level, the depth of the Great Lakes are slowly rising, except for Superior. I don't remember where I heard that. But
I remember hearing.
Fourth grade social studies teacher that you never forgot.
Yeah, probably.
I remember
yeah.
hearing that all the lakes in Minnesota were made by Paul Bunyan's footprints. Pretty sure that checks out.
Could be.
Anyways,
Do you
what
know
were you
that
saying,
Michigan
Dan?
actually has more lakes than Minnesota does?
So does Wisconsin. Every fucking state has more lakes. We never said we have the most. We said we have 10,000.
I know, but like,
Right?
do you think that
The
if you're if
Wikipedia
that's
page
gonna
for
be,
Michigan says 11,000. Just
yeah, if that's gonna be your tagline, you better be like,
You better be the best.
yeah, you better be swinging
See,
up there at
it's
the top.
it's the land of 10,000 lakes. It's not the land of the most lakes.
Okay, but Michigan has more lakes, and we're just like, yeah, we got 5 fucking cool ones. Technically, we don't touch all 5, obviously, but
Yeah, we only got 4.
we only got 4.
yeah.
Still, 4 out of 5
But-
ain't bad.
What is it? Erie or is it Ontario?
Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck Ontario.
That's slot
It's the worst one anyway.
Literally the worst.
It's the
Erie's
smallest.
worst one.
Okay, but Ontario's the smallest.
Yeah, but there's a canal in that one at least. At least it's useful.
Erie's disgusting.
Yeah,
Is it-
Erie's
I've
Lake
never been.
Erie.
nasty.
Oh, it's getting better now, but it used to be just like fucking algae ridden. It
Yeah.
was.
Well,
It
and-
used to be
and
really
polluted,
fucking
polluted
bad.
dull shit.
Yeah, it's gotten better, but
Anyways, dude.
Yeah, so I've only seen one like glacier in my life, and that was in New Zealand. And like they had like markers out there to like show you where like the glacier was at like each specific like year or whatever. And like so I know that glaciers and stuff like that, they formed during the ice age, I'm pretty sure. And it's normal for them to kind of like ebb and flow. But it's like I understand it's a natural process, except like we're obviously accelerating it a lot. But my question is like, what the hell is it gonna take to like reform some of these like naturally occurring like things? Like to reform a glacier is like insane. And then like the
Yeah.
extreme like erosion that we're seeing on the Great Lakes, where like bluffs that are like 100 or 200 feet up off the ground are eroding, and it's just like those like you can't just like take the sand from the lake and try and like smear it back up on the bluff. Like it
just
doesn't,
push it back up.
like it doesn't work like that. So like just wrapping my mind around like the scale of the event that had to have happened to like deposit those sediments there and in those ways, and then how much it's changed since then. It's especially nutty.
In 50 years, we've actually collected too much carbon, and everything's getting colder than we want, and then
What?
it just snow piles. I don't know. Or
We're
a
also-
Snowpiercer event. I don't know.
We're talking on the scale of like millions of years, though, right, Dayton?
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
these are like time scales we can't even like comprehend.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
don't
Except
glaciers
like,
move like what, a couple feet, like a year or
oh,
something?
they should be even less than that. I'm pretty sure.
Right, like
but...
that's max. I mean, depending on the size, I guess. But
I don't know. Like it's just. I can't wrap my mind around it.
Yeah, because I went to a glacier too in New Zealand. It's like they're fucking huge, but
Mhm.
they're also like way smaller than they used to be.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like, do we need another like ice age to like reset shit? But obviously, like humans wouldn't live through that. At least not a lot of them.
Mhm.
I don't know, but yeah, I've never thought about that. It's fucking crazy.
Snowpiercer.
And the Appalachian Mountains used to be taller than the Himalayas, but then they got eroded away by
Aren't they old as
glaciers.
fuck? Aren't they some of the oldest mountains in the world or some shit?
Yeah, they're really fucking old. Yeah.
I thought. 'Cause aren't the Appalachians from the? They're from the what, the Atlantic plate and whatever plate North America's on, kind of.
Yeah, and then sudden like when they first formed and like they like
Buckled.
yeah they buckled. That's when like they were like the tallest, and then like the glaciers came through and like fucking ground them to shit, and then exposed them to like the metamorphic rock that's shown
Interesting.
down. Yeah.
It all comes back to rocks, man.
Earth is
Rocks.
crazy. Can you imagine telling someone like 300 years ago, it's like, all right, so there's these plates and they move, but the
One
Earth
day
is below
they're gonna
it.
kill us all with a massive earthquake.
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll actually happen. Probably will at some point. But they always, I feel like you always hear about like the LA one and there's one in New Zealand too, where it's like the big one's coming. It was supposed to happen 5 years ago, so every day could happen. It's like,
Well, they had that with Yellowstone too, where the super
Yeah.
volcano bullshit.
yeah.
That's 100 years overdue. Like if you put it on like a geological scale, that's just like half a second.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it could. We're about that time, but
Yeah.
you know, we got time.
Because
To...
like the tolerance for that, so I'm like, yeah, it could be 100 to 4,000 years from now. Like that's probably our tightest guess, and it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's such a different place than obviously.
Yeah, geological timescales are fucking nuts. And
I
I
wouldn't be
do
surprised at this rate in 2020 though if it fucking erupts.
so I just wonder how much, yeah, honestly, I wonder how much it up, like Dayton, you're saying, like we're accelerating it, you know. Are we gonna accelerate the point where it bounces back to, or are we just gonna like accelerate to a point where it can't bounce back? You know?
That's
we're,
what I'm scared
we're in the
of.
way. But also,
Yeah, you know,
what
last
has happened
year
within our timeline?
the Earth
our
took
time
the L,
lifetime.
but we're not gonna bounce back.
That's what happened for more than just last year.
Last decade I took the L, but today I didn't bounce back.
Spit it, Joseph. Spit those bars.
All right, well, that's our show for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our jabberings about science, technology, engineering, and math. You can find our show or math.
I talk about those computers.
Math,
That's
a little
kind of
geometry.
those got engineered.
Yeah.
Some processors.
You can find our show every Monday on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at EWF Podcast. You can follow us on Twitch at EWF_podcast. Yes, it is different. Fight me on it.
Fight Dayton on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all
more fight
Dayton
Dayton
do.
on it. We'll see you next week.
He's scary anyways.
Bye.
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 Bye.